PBS is in search of America's best-loved novels and needs your help. The Great American Read, a new 8-part PBS television series hosted by Meredith Vieira, will take viewers on a journey across the country to uncover the nation's 100 favorite novels and the people who love them. In the process, they hope that you'll join in by voting on your #1 all-time favorite novel. Here's a look.
Everyone has a favorite.
Charlotte's Web.
War and Peace.
The Catcher in the Rye.
But what is America's favorite book?
The Color Purple. Frankenstein.
Ready Player One.
We've got a list of America's 100 best-loved novels, and we need you to help us pick #1.
The Joy Luck Club.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
The Book Thief.
The Martian.
Is your favorite on the list? Join host Meredith Vieira and cast your vote in The Great American Read. It all begins Tuesday, May 22nd at 8, 7 Central, only on PBS.
And joining us now to give us a preview of The Great American Read, launching right here on PBS, is the series co-executive producer, Jane Root. Jane, welcome to the program.
Hi there.
Now, this is an ambitious project you came up with. How did you come up with it?
Well, a long time ago, you can tell from my accent that I'm British.
Oh, that's where that is.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I was working with the BBC, and we did a project called The Big Read, and that was trying to find which was the British people's favourite book. And that was a long time ago, and I've since moved here and become an American, and I thought it was time to find out America's best-loved novel. So it grew. This is much bigger than the BBC's project.
It is big. Now, besides finding out what America's favorite novels are, are there other goals involved in the project?
Well, the real thing is to get everybody talking and reading. We want to find out the best-loved book, but we really want people to read more books. I've already started reading some of the ones on the list that I didn't know about, and to talk to other people about them. You know, have discussions, even have arguments. But it's about kind of asking other people, what do you really love, and would I love it too if I read it?
Now, the novels that made it to your top 100 list, how were they selected?
We did a huge poll with YouGov, one of those polling organizations that you see connected to elections. Went out and asked thousands of people what was their book, and got an enormous response, really, when we asked people, just give us just one. And that 100 list from a really wide sample, that's where we're asking people to choose from. We had to kind of limit it in some way.
Yeah. So the series has some of America's favorite contemporary authors talking about their favorite books, as well as some celebrities talking about their favorite books. Now, can you give us some of the names of the people who appear and how difficult it was to get them to appear on your series?
Well, the launch show, which is on the 22nd, starts off with George R.R. Martin, who wrote the Game of Thrones. Yeah. Talking about how he never, ever would have written it if it wasn't for the Lord of the Rings. And so he's absolutely enthusiastically saying, you've got to read Lord of the Rings. He's like, he has this just huge passion. But then there's a whole range of other people. Also, Morgan Freeman picks his, Gabrielle Union picks hers. There's a big, big range of people picking books they really care about.
And it's not just celebrities. For example, you have a young woman who read the Harry Potter series and really transformed her life. And in fact, it got her to make a web series about Harry Potter, a fictional web series. Talk about that.
Yeah, she calls it My Quarter Life Crisis. And her big thing is, what would Hermione do? And it's this series about women of that age trying to figure out what they're doing with their lives and wondering what Hermione Granger would have to say about it. It's a wonderful series. And she's taken the kind of core of the Harry Potter series and turned it into something really magical and very special to her. And we just love that kind of passion. That's what the whole project is about.
You know, and I think that the key message of this series is that books do transform lives. They are that important. People change because of books they read, right?
Absolutely. There's all these different examples in the series of people who've fundamentally kind of rethought who they are or how they act or what they say through reading books. It's that sense of all these different lives and different personas that you can inhabit just by reading.
Now, it's interesting that 70 of the 100 favorite novels were written after World War II. First of all, how does that compare with the British favorite 100? And what do you think that says about American readers?
Well, Americans, on the whole, live more in the present, whereas in Britain, we're fond of the past. And so there were more Victorians in there. I think it's also the different school systems. You read, I was a schoolgirl in Britain, and did we read those books where people wore crinolines, a lot of them. And they kind of stay with you, wonderful books. But here, there's a real sense of what's new. It's one of the core kind of things about America. So our most recent book on the list, A Ghost, was only written a year ago. Of course, we have got Gulliver's Travels at the other end of the spectrum, which is nearly 400 years old. So, it goes both ways.
Now, Jane, there's a difference between the 100 greatest books and 100 favorite books. Let me ask you, what do you think makes a great novel?
Well, a great novel is all about the care of the skill of the writing and the artistry of the person creating it. Best Loved, which is what our project is about, it's about touching people's hearts and making people think. And some of the books on the 100 list, people might say that they're not the best written books in the world, but they touch people and surprise people and amaze people. And that it's that emotional connection.
So quickly, when is the number one book going to be announced?
It's going to be in October. So the whole idea is 22nd of May, we're going to release the 100 book list to the world and ask people to get voting and reading and joining book clubs and discussing. And then in October, we have a series that reveals exactly how we all voted and what we all had to say.
And what is the process, quickly? What is the process for voting? If people want to vote on the book, what do they have to do?
They can vote. They can vote by Facebook. They can vote by Twitter. They can vote by phone line. They can vote in all these different ways, and you can vote once a day on every platform. So if you're really committed, you can vote 5 times a day. And we hope that people are going to. This is really a case of, vote early, vote often. It's fine in this case.
That's great. Okay, Jane, I expect a lot of people will participate in this. I already have my favorite, and I'm going to vote as soon as I can.
Great.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
The Great American Read is launching on PBS stations with a 2-hour special event on Tuesday, May 22nd at 8 p.m. Please check your local listings for additional airtimes and streaming opportunities. And for more information, you can log on to our website at metrofocus.org.